Hey guys, how's it going? Can you hear me? Hello. Okay. Hey ladies, happy Wednesday. I've been out of town, so I wasn't able to go live a lot, like over the weekend or this past week or the past few days. But I'm back and I wanted to talk about some things that I found, some things that I've been seeing. Hold on, let me just get adjusted here. Um, so yeah, So I titled this live. Hold on. Oh, okay. So I titled this live, Are You Going to Stay Desperate or Walk Away? Because there are some things I've been seeing, and I'm about to show you guys. If you've been just on YouTube, you're online, I'm sure you've seen it as well. One of them went viral, and then the other thing I'm going to talk about when it comes to like walking away um, from just what's not serving you, especially as a Black woman, didn't really go viral, but it just happened. So I'm sure it probably will go viral within the next few days. Um, but I'm just going to get right into it. So I'm sure you guys have seen, wait a minute. I'm sure you guys have seen, I'm sure you guys have seen this TikTok, right? Wait, let me share my screen. I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. Sure, you guys have seen that TikTok where a man, a white man, went on 50 dates, and this Black woman who calls herself Aunt Karen, and she's actually like has a whole TikTok where she is criticizing lots of things. She has like 1 million followers on TikTok, but I don't know if she there it is. I don't know if she got her fame, her 1 million subscribers before or after she did her criticisms on this guy. So first, let me just show you guys the original TikTok though of like this man and what she's even talking about. Because this is crazy, in my opinion. And Chrissy talked a little bit about this in her live video. And I think she was just absolutely spot on. I think it's this one. Okay. So let me just show you guys the original TikTok before I, really show you, really like let you know the problem with this, because it's weird. My God, where is it? All right. Hey, Black Widow. So the first part of this live, I'm gonna be talking about. I'm going to talk about being desperate and different ways you can be desperate, even if it's not for Black men, even if you've chosen to date out, even if you've chosen to divest and swirl and just whatever else, and how you can still look desperate. So I'm going to show you this TikTok of this white man who went on 50 dates with 50 different women. For those of you who have seen it, this went viral. Those of you who have not seen it yet, I'm going to show it to you in its entirety. Yeah, I'm falling from the night, crashing from the high. You know I'm letting go. Okay, so that was this TikTok that went viral because this man went on 50 dates in 50 states with all those girls that I just showed you guys, right? So clearly and obviously, a lot of women had some issues with it because if you haven't noticed, all of the women in this video basically look the same. They either, obviously, they're white, they're blue eyed, predominantly, they're blonde haired, whatever. And a lot of the comments were pretty interesting. A lot of the comments were saying the women were beautiful, but in actuality, they kind of all looked the same. So it's obvious this man has a type. The only black girl, I believe, okay, I don't know, the only black girl, I believe, or black looking girl, woman of color, was a girl from Michigan. So this story went viral, or this TikTok went viral, mainly because, none of the girls looked any different. He not only didn't include any black women in this TikTok, but he didn't include any Asian women. He didn't include any Latinas. It was only one girl who looked like a woman of color from Michigan. I don't even really want to call her black. She looked half black. She looks mixed, or she might even be Afro Latina. I don't know. Someone said bro didn't even bother trying different fonts. But he dated the same girl in different states. Yeah, this man definitely has a type. Um Here was now I'm just reading the comments. They all look like they could be sorority sisters, blonde, 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 blonde. So there were even girls who were not black that had a problem with what he chose to date, what his preference was. And let me now show you guys the video of the black woman who actually criticized his own video, who criticized you know, the lack of woman of color in his TikTok. Why do I oh there it goes.
Going on a date with a woman from every state. And let me just show you why he's getting a lot of hate. I think it's fair to say that my guy has a type, but here's what really makes me mad. This is the girl he went on a date with from Hawaii. Like, sir, what you not finna do? You not finna play us, sir. You not finna play us, sir. Then this is the girl he went on a date with from New Mexico, who is actually, if you look on her Instagram, from Long Island. So, sir, if you have a type, you didn't even have to go across 50 states for that. Like, you really just dated the same girl in every single state. Like, where is the seasoning? Let me know y'all thoughts in the comments, because I'm feeling like this was unnecessary. So this guy has made a show of going on a date with a woman.
Okay, so that was her commentary, and what really annoyed me, and I've seen other commentaries on her commentary here on YouTube, and I'm just gonna have to be like in total agreement with what everyone else is saying about her, that this just isn't a good look. Why are you criticizing this white man for dating predominantly white girls? This is screaming desperate. She's obviously a black woman who probably dates out herself, hence why she feels bold enough to even comment on what a non-black man is doing, because she most likely dates men that look like him. But you still look desperate though. So it's not just being desperate for a black man, and it's not just about black male worship. It's also about you feeling some type of way about what non-black men are doing that aren't checking for you. Now, we really don't even know the true true preferences of this particular man. Like, it's not like he made it explicitly clear out of his mouth that he doesn't date Latinas or he doesn't date any black woman. He didn't even say that. He just went on these dates and he chose what he chose based off of what he was attracted to. Maybe those girls were the most available. Maybe they were the most friendly. I don't know. And they just all look the same. I don't know, but I'm sure he, like, on his search, he probably came across other types of women that looked differently, and those women just ended up being the ones he went on a date with. I don't know for sure until this person says he doesn't date any black women at all, is what it is. So I when I was, however, looking on some of the commentary on the commentary of her, right? The comments, guys, were disgusting on one of the videos that I found. It was from a manosphere creator. He's pretty big. He was with, Kitten Heels or whatever. And he made a video. I didn't even really watch it. I really didn't care to hear what he had to say, but I wanted to just read the comments instead. And a lot of the comments were pretty surprising. The comments from non-black men, because the video that he did on her, um it got like over 300,000 views, so clearly non-black people are watching him as well. And so the non-black men that commented on his commentary of this, they weren't horribly bad. They were pretty disgusting from all the black men. I mean, get what else is new? But from a lot of the non-black men who were responding to what they were from to other comments that they were seeing about complaining about black women, a lot of these non-black men said that they never had these negative experiences with black women when it comes to dating them. So I guess that was kind of surprising to me because I just thought that this video criticizing black women would be just the comment section would be filled with all kinds of men joining the bandwagon as well. But of course, it was majority black men on that bandwagon and not as much non black men. There were at least some negative comments from those non-black men, and they were just saying that they dated some black women that had a lot of attitude, and so it turned them off from wanting to date more black women. But in the responses to those comments, other people were saying, well, that's not a reason why you should shut off all black women. But anyway, the commentary that I was seeing on this Black Aunt Karen video, particularly from Manosphere creators, were, they were making it such a big deal and criticizing her and criticizing all black women for being thirsty for the white man and white male worship. And to be honest, this video, if you've seen it around, it only blew up because of Black Manosphere creators. To be honest, I didn't even know about this video until I got on here and checked my algorithm and seen a lot of Manosphere content creators bringing this up and bringing it to the attention of other people. I didn't even know about this girl. She has 1 million followers now, but I didn't even know about her. So that's the thing with the Black manosphere. A lot of black women actually, do make their comments, but it doesn't really go viral until black men shed light to it. And in a way, it's negative. In a way, I mean, it is negative, but in a way, it's like a bad thing. But then in a way, it's also a good thing because it can shed light on some things that black women are going through and what we're trying to do. But it can create a bad light by making us look crazy. But regardless if the black men talked about this or not, it still looks crazy. It still looks desperate. It still looks thirsty. And let me show y'all a picture of this white man that this woman is even complaining about. Cuz y'all, I don't even the energy she put into trying to check this white man on his preferences and hoping that there was a woman who looks like her is disgusting. Because this is what he looks like. Like, what is going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, this man looks a hot mess. Why are you worried about his preferences? Why are you worried about who he's dating? He's hideous. To me, I'm sorry. I don't think he's a good looking guy. What the hell? What the hell? Okay. He's not cute to me. I mean, he's an everyday looking white dude. Like, sis, you're out here complaining about non-black men preferences when these non-black men are not cute. Do you really want to wake up to this every day? Really? Do you want this laying on top of you every night? For real? This guy, oh God, did it cut out? Can you guys hear me or am I tripping? Okay, I think it must have cut out for a little bit. But all I'm saying is, this guy is not cute. He looks 12 years old. And he was going on these 50 dates in 50 states, I guess, for a really long time, like the whole year. And so he decided to make like a show about it or whatever, document it on his TikToks, right? But he's not a good looking guy. I don't think he's the type of guy that black women should be concerned about. Like, this black aunt Karen is really out here complaining that he's not choosing to date women of color within his 50 dates. And all I have to say is, girl, let them have him. Okay? Let them have him. And for all we know, these girls right here could have all been paid. They look way too good, I'm sorry, to get with a man that looks like this. These girls he's choosing look way too pretty to get with a man that looks like this. What? What? Like, he must have some bomb personality, I guess, which is fine. I'm just going off of looks here. I don't know the man from a hole in the wall, obviously. I'm just going off of looks. But these girls can get with a much better looking guy. Okay, so I don't know if this was all for social media. He's just going around creating all these, going on all of these dates, paying these girls. Who knows? Like, you don't know. It's all social media. Everything is basically fake on here nowadays. But in case it is real, in case this is real, these girls are really out here dating this man for real. Like, this is really disturbing and disgusting to me. I don't think I would ever get on the internet and complain about how a man who looks like this is not choosing women that look like me in his dating pool. I just don't think I would ever do that. I would not even care. Matter of fact, I actually did see his TikTok way before I guess it really blew up and was receiving all this criticism, and I didn't think anything of it. I just kept scrolling. Like, just didn't care. You know what I'm saying? I didn't care. All right. So, this is like a prime example. This whole entire story is a prime example of Black women who are carrying their desperate Black male worship into and into other, like a whole new dating pool and outside of the black community, and no longer centering black men, but any man that just doesn't choose them, especially a man who's outside of the race. Like that's even more embarrassing. Ew. Oh my god. What? Like, and do you also know, by the way, there are so many fine ass non black men who be on TikTok talking about how much they love black women like all day and all night. For each hour I spend on TikTok collectively, not 1 hour goes by and I don't see a fine non-black man talking about he loves him some chocolate, he loves his melanin queens. And I don't know if it's fake, because I know that was a whole thing, like it could be fake, he could just be doing it for likes. But at the end of the day, they're willing to put it out there and announce it. It's got to mean something. That's how I see it. And for you to be tripping off of this one man that doesn't have you in his dating pool, I'm not even going to say doesn't like black women, because we can't really confirm that. All I'm going to say is he didn't have a black woman in his dating pool on these 50 dates. Right? So like there's so many other fine non-black men that make it very very clear they want black women and like women of color. So many of them, and as soon as one comes out and basically posts that he is dating the same type of girl or going on these 50 dates with white women, now you want to come out and criticize him and go viral because of it. Like it's just too much. It's disgusting. It's gross. But let me show y'all. So apparently he got so big, like on his video, that he ended up on Good Morning America to choose his top 4 good looking girls, or not good looking girls, but his top 4 dates that he went on while on his 50 dates challenge. And so he really made it like it's a bachelorette type of thing. Like he really made it to be like he's doing his own, not bachelorette, bachelor. Like he really made it to be like he's doing his own show of like The Bachelor, but all on TikTok. So let me play this for you guys.
Matt Wernick, 50 dates in 50 states. Let's go, Matt. He's been around the country twice, and this morning, after many, many, many first dates, Matt's getting ready to finally go on a second date with that someone special. But first, here's a look at his journey.
25-year-old Matt Wernick becoming an internet sensation by going on 50 dates in 50 states. Coined the TikTok Bachelor, Matt driving more than 25,000 miles, setting up dates with girls across the country.
Here we go.
Taking his dates on rides in helicopters, hot air balloons.
All right, we have an engine.
Then even in a plane as a co-pilot right now.
46 of
Matt is ready to find love, right?
absolutely.
Okay, good. Don't want to put
The last and final date.
So who will Matt pick for a second?
So I just paused it. So these are the top 4 girls he chose. Notice that that girl Peyton is the one that people were saying, well, oh, he did choose a woman of color, and that girl is from, where is she from? Michigan, right? So this is Peyton. Hold on. I don't know if she's definitely like, you know, biracial or mixed with something. I'm not sure what it could be. I'm not sure what it could be that she's mixed with exactly. She might even be an Afro Latina for all I know. Let me show y'all. She might be like an Afro Latina or just biracial. I don't know. But this was really the only woman of color within his 50 girls. And she ended up being his top 4, right? So I'm not going to play the rest of that Good Morning America clip. But he ended up picking the white girl, Cassidy from Illinois. But he said that Peyton was like his first date and they really, really hit it off. Um, so I don't know. It's just weird how this went viral. It's just weird how black women had to criticize this and say he didn't like women of color, but a woman of color ended up in his top 4 out of these 50 girls he dated. And he also said that was one of the best first dates that he went on. I mean, he ended up choosing Cassidy because the connection ended up being stronger after the fact. But the experience, his first like experience with one of these girls was with Peyton, who is a woman of color. She's biracial or she's Afro Latina, I don't know. She also won, you can see that she won a pageant. She won some kind of a pageant, Miss Monroe County. She's a very pretty girl and she seems to be talented. I think she's a singer. She's very cute. You know, if you look at her Instagram, she hangs out with a lot of, non-black people. I don't see her with any pictures with other black women. It's pictures of her with white girls, but she's probably half white or half non-black. So can't, that's not something that surprises me. If she's half black, she's also would be half white or half Latina or something else, or a full-blown Latina. I don't know. But she seems to be a very cute girl, very sweet. And this was a weird thing to go viral. This was just embarrassing for a black woman, for that black woman to this black Karen woman off of TikTok to have a serious problem. To have a serious problem with him only choosing women that look like him. Black Butter Rose says the thing is, why make this go viral? Why bother with being offended by this? It's giving desperation. Exactly. It's giving desperation. And this is what desperation looks like, even when you're divested, even when you're a swirler, even when are just not heavily affiliated with the black community. This is still desperate. Now you're having the same questions and concerns that you had for black men. Now you're having it for non-black men, and no one's going to deal with that. And you really look psychotic, especially on issues when it comes to race. Like you are not entitled to get everyone to like you. There's going to be people that just don't like you. You're just not going to be everyone's type, and that's fine. Everyone is not your type. You don't like everyone either. So what's the big deal? It's okay for people to like what they like and let it be that. This is really embarrassing. Really, really embarrassing because, black women who are on her boat talking about they are also criticizing the white man for this. Keep in mind that less than about 7 to 6% of this nation's population are black females. We don't make up that much of the country. So for you to have all this complaining about not being seen, not being heard, not being liked, not being chosen as the type, there's not even enough of us to go around if we were everyone's type. So what's the point? For all the black women that are even open to dating out, there's actually a plethora, an abundance of non-black men that actually will date you, and probably even more than that find you attractive. So it's just too much. Like it's too much. It's too much. Too many like black women are gonna be out here looking crazy and expecting just way too much. And at some point you really gotta sit back and be like, what about me is missing? Why do I need all of this recognition? Why do I need to be chosen time and time again by people I'm never even gonna end up with? I'm never even gonna end up around. Why do I need this level of validation, this high level of validation for what? Because at the end of the day, when it comes to having a relationship and having a man and long term, if that's what you want, you only need one guy. You don't need an entire arena of men to find you attractive and fine and to notice you and to choose you. If you believe that's what you need, If you believe that's what you need, even though you're never even gonna be able to get with that many men as a long-term thing, there's no way you can be with an arena of men for the rest of your life. You can only be with one for the rest of your life, really. If you really think you need that many men, that is an insecurity. You have certain voids. You have a void within you, multiple ones that need to be filled, and you are reaching for every opportunity to be noticed and to be seen and to be heard. You're reaching for that to try to fill that void, and it's just not going to work. You just need one person. And when you find that one person, the connection is going to be so real and so strong. What anyone else thinks, I swear and promise to you, it's not going to matter to you at all. Not at all. All right? I just need for a lot of Black women are, I believe, are understanding this, but we still have to push these messages out anyway. Because Black women need to understand that we are not the majority of women in this country. Therefore, we really don't even need majority of men in this country to even like be available to us. We really don't. We just need just need a little bit, probably even smaller than a little bit. How many Black women are there roughly? Like a little over 20 million, 22 million. Then you got to count the ones who are too young to date. Okay. So then you got to count the ones that are the Black women who are much older, right? The grandmas and stuff who aren't even interested in dating, right? Then you got to count the ones who are actually single, the Black women who aren't married, the Black women who aren't in relationships. Then you got to count the ones that even want to date out. I guarantee you that's much less that in my mind from single available Black women who are open to dating out fully and completely, like fully and completely open to dating any kind of man. I promise you it's probably less than 10 million, to be honest. If you're counting out Black girls that are too young to be dating seriously like this, counting out the older Black women. By the way, older Black women are a large population of the Black female population. There's a lot of older Black women. So it's not that many. It's not that many of us. We don't need all these guys to find us the most desire. We really don't need it, and it's okay. It's okay. It truly is okay. The point is for a lot of this, for when it comes to Black women dating and relationships, is Black women are, we are the most single group of people. A lot of that is because the majority of the single Black women don't want to date out. They're not very open. That's a big chunk of the reason why. There's so many Black women I know who have men of other races checking for them and have always checked for them. But the Black woman has rejected them because those men aren't Black. We all know a Black woman like that. Like, let's be real. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like there's plenty out there for us. We don't need to make these videos. We don't need to criticize anyone that doesn't want us. We really don't. It's pointless. There's so many of all the articles that are being posted. There's so many single ass men, y'all. Like there's so many men out here lonely and miserable and single. If you want a man, they're not hard to get nowadays. To be honest, it's very easy to get a man. They have nowhere else to go. They're by themselves. Like, it's not easy to get a man. Penis is not easy to get, if that's even what you're looking for. They're all easy, okay? You don't need to make videos like this. You don't need to make videos reaching for validation. You don't. Like, you really do not. So this was disappointing. This is being desperate. By older, what age do you mean? What age group? I mean like about I'd say 55 and up. A lot of those Black women tend to not be as interested and or motivated into dating out the most compared to younger Black women. Mocha Mommy says Black women crave external validation because we get torn down so much. The move is to find the places and spaces where people are less critical. Exactly. This is the truth. There is a lot of criticism on Black women. There's a lot of struggle amongst Black women too. There's a lot of comparison amongst Black women. And so us reaching for validation and us wanting to be seen it feels really, really good. And it would be really, really nice for us to get that type of treatment from all fronts. But I'm telling y'all, it's nice, but it's not necessary from the majority of men because we're not even going to utilize majority of those men anyway. Women in general love attention. This isn't a foreign concept. Women love attention. I don't know not one woman that doesn't like to have all eyes on her at some point, and it's natural. It's fine because it's not always bad attention. Sometimes that attention can bring inspiration to everyone else. So it can be a good thing. You know what I'm saying? But don't let this desire and craving for attention make you look like a psychotic hot mess. You're criticizing everything. You're bringing up when people aren't choosing you or not wanting you. That is kind of crazy. You really don't need that many people to want you. You don't need that many people to choose you. You don't need that many people to, you know, give you that type of validation. You really don't, because you're never going to meet half as many people as you think you will need this attention from. This is why when Instagram got rid of likes, I was actually like, this could be a good thing. This could be a good thing for a lot of women so that they're not obsessed with being seen and getting that validation and having it wreak on their self-esteem. Because they don't need it. You don't need 1,000 likes on one picture of you at the park. You really don't. Like, why? Be so in tune and be so present within your life that if anything, you care about people that care about you. That's normal. It's not it somehow today it got normal to care about people that genuinely don't really care about you. Somehow today it got normal to care about validation and being seen or heard by people that you'll never meet, that will never care about you, that wouldn't help you. Even if they had the ability to help you, they wouldn't help you because they don't care about you. And I do blame social media for this, with the likes and the numbers and the algorithms and all this other stuff. Like, there's a lot of BWE channels that are small and they don't care if they're small. They care about their message. They care about some Black women's lives being changed, even if it's like less than 50 of us. Who cares about the numbers? Who cares to be big? And it's only those channels where they care so much about being big and being seen, where you start to see their content just doesn't feel real and authentic. They're just not very relatable. And you eventually just get turned off. So this validation and this, it's nice to receive it. And yes, Black women have been torn down and brought down a lot in many different ways, from our own community, from our own family, from our classmates and our sisters and brothers or whatever. But in the terms of like dating preferences and relationships, if you carry in that energy in this arena of dating, you will look crazy. It will be a turnoff. No man wants to be told what he can and can't like, to be honest. He doesn't. Yes, even the non-Black ones. Everyone has their own life and everyone can make their own decisions. And that decision can be that they don't have to, like you or be around you or choose you first. And vice versa. You don't have to like them or choose them first or give them any validation. That's normal. That's not weird. It's normal. I think she may be really sensitive to feeling rejected. Black women need to stop caring about men's preferences and opinions. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Stop caring about what these men prefer. Stop caring about that. The men who are the loudest and have the most to say, to be honest, they don't make the best partners. Because men who are loud and just have the gift to gab, they tend to not even produce the best. And whatever it is they do produce doesn't last. And it's really rinky dinky. It sucks. The men who are working, like actually working and not spending their time talking 24/7 and saying what they like and what they don't like and just so fixated on the results of what they're going to get, those types of guys actually end up winning. Those types of guys go the distance. They have and create the best legacies, and they're very grounded in who they are as men. They don't need to express their preferences. They're just doers. They're just doers. Point blank, period. I move in silence. Your dating life should be private. Absolutely. Your dating life should be private. You should not be talking about your dating life like that, especially as a Black woman in today's time, in this space. You got to keep it more to yourself. I don't know what it is with Black women expressing what they like and who they want to date, and it just getting so much backlash, especially when it's, they want to date out, disregarding that Black men date out twice as much. I don't know what it is. It's weird, but keep it to yourself until further notice. Until, well, really just period. I would just keep it to myself, which brings me on to my next thing. And I don't know. Here we go. I'm sure some of you guys probably saw this, and we're not going to like watch the whole thing just because, it's long. But I watched the whole thing earlier, so let's just talk about it. Let me show this to you guys. And I guess we can like play some clips. But now let's get towards the topic of walking away and, abandoning, well, what other people are calling it, abandoning Black men as a Black woman who's dating. Right? So this came out last night. I was traveling, so I wasn't able to watch it live, but it got re-uploaded today. Cynthia G was on it. And the topic was, should Black women stop dating Black men? So, my message on my channel has always been choose the best man for the job. Who cares what color he is? I have specifically, however, promoted Black women dating interracially because, number one, Black women are the most single group of people currently as far as being unmarried goes. And number two, Black women are the least likely group of people to also date out. I think next to, well, actually, no, I think period. Either it's a Black woman or Native American woman, I'm not sure. But I think period, we really just are very, very low. And especially in comparison to our counterparts, Black men who date out more. Right. And the reasons for this, people have said, is because Black women, well, especially Black men have said that Black women just aren't that desirable, right? That we're overweight, attitude, baby mamahood or whatever, even though majority of Black women, especially Black women under 30, over 80%, are not mothers, by the way. That baby mama, 80% of Black women are baby mamas. That's not true. So other things like that. But the real reason is because Black women are actively rejecting non-Black men because they have a preference for Black men. So I watched the entire this entire segment. It was 50 minutes long, and I'm sure Cynthia G is probably going to get on live on her own channel and give her commentary on this. And I'm definitely going to be interested and tune into that to just see what she has to say herself since she was on this panel. But I was obviously more for what Cynthia G was saying, and a lot of people have an issue with some of the things Cynthia G says. I think the only thing I would say I disagree with Cynthia G is the abortion thing. Those of you who don't know, I'm not for abortion. I'm more so for just don't sleep with someone you wouldn't see yourself wanting to be a parent with or have their child. So, in my opinion, when it comes to that, just don't sleep with Black men if you don't want to have if you don't want to deal with that stuff. Just don't sleep with them. It's just way too many men out here for you to just only want to sleep with one group of guys. So I wouldn't even bother putting your body up for risk in a abortion when you can just not sleep with them, not go on dates, know how to vet, and not even get yourself to that point in the first place. That's probably the only thing I disagree with her on. But in general, Cynthia G is, if you really listen to her message, she condemns Black men a lot and talks about a lot of the issues that Black men have. But she also doesn't say you shouldn't date them. She just says date with standards and boundaries. And if Black men make the cut, then that's fine. But she acknowledges, and I do too, that majority of them will not make the cut if you set good standards and good boundaries. And they also, Black men themselves, admit that they won't make the cut because they claim themselves that the system is out to get them. Welfare took them out the home. They apply for jobs and they don't get hired, stuff like that, right? So if that's the case, then no, a lot of Black men shouldn't be at the top of your list. And choosing them just because they're Black is not going to give you a healthy home. It's not going to give you a healthy family. Choosing a man who, if you're traditional, especially, who's able to provide and protect you and has resources economically to support a home and get a house and all these other things and send your kids to good schools and give you things you need, put food in your pantry, that's what's going to really set you up to have a smoother life, the soft life, right? When it comes to that stuff, getting with someone who says that a system is out to get them, that they're not getting hired for jobs, and you still want to actively marry a person like that and have children with someone like that, I don't know about that. I don't know what that household is going to look like if you're married to a person who's telling you that they can't succeed in life because of these things. You're better off opening up your options, dating someone who tells you, I can make it. I'm successful. I can take care of us. I want to be a husband. I want you to be my wife. I can take care of the children. That's the type of man you want to be with ultimately. So like I said, I'm not going to play the whole thing. But we'll just play like at least the beginning of it so we can just get a good idea of what, is being said and how this is getting started for those of you who didn't catch it.
Thank you,
Dr. Judice.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Cynthia G is joining us. She's an influencer and a YouTuber. Welcome.
Hey, Dominique. It's nice to meet you, and I'm definitely happy to be here.
Looking forward to the conversation. Justin Blue joins us. He's an activist and a life coach, and he's holding it down for the men in this conversation.
Pleasure to be here. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
And we have the CEO of Fortitude Health and Wellness, Janet Brooks. Welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
It's great to have such an eclectic panel. And the question we'll start out with is, why are Black women less likely to date or marry outside of our race? I know many of us have been raised, maybe socialized, or maybe it's just that personal preference. But why do you think that Black women are so much more likely to hold out for that Black man? Let's start with a doctor, Dr. Judice.
Well, you already gave the answer to the question. Most people grow up hoping that they can find someone within their own race, ethnic culture. And again, that's what most people are socialized to do. So there's no reason that Black women wouldn't want the same thing.
Well,
So, did you guys just hear what this doctor said? I guess the first question was, right, why are Black women having such a hard time with dating or whatever? And this doctor literally says, she's a sociologist. She literally basically says what has been known, that Black women are growing up and being conditioned and or taught and or having desires where they should only stick to someone within their own culture, where they shouldn't date out. So what is that telling you? That's telling you that it's not because Black women aren't desirable. It's not because the men are not out here checking for Black women. It's Black women who are making the choice to stay within their culture. So she pretty much confirmed and admitted lots of things that have already been said before. But if you watch the rest of the video, I feel like she kind of backtracks a little bit on that, which is ridiculous.
True, but I mean, for some, it just seems to be a struggle, or it almost feels fruitless. Jenna Brooks, why do you think we prefer, generally, I mean, my girlfriends, the people I know, we generally prefer Black men?
There's no one like a Black man. I mean, you know, their swagger, yes, they have their problems, but I just believe that we as a race need to come together. And I can't think of any other race that has this problem, where their counterparts, they can't get together. And so I think it's the problem of racism, it's the advertisement, and I think a lot of Black men have bought into the standard of beauty in America. And, you know, there's some things that we as Black.
So this woman, child, this woman starts off by saying there's nothing like a Black man. And then she goes on to say that racism is the issue. And then literally her last statements are Black men have bought into a different standard of beauty. So within her answer, within her trying to mammy, within her trying to Black male worship, she is also acknowledging that Black men have chosen to love on somebody else that don't look like her. This is the retardation of women who think like this, of women who believe loving and only dating a Black man is like some kind of political party or something, like some special thing that has to be done by, like, just this weird talk. But then at the same time, you're openly admitting that the Black man is choosing a woman that doesn't look like you as like the standard of beauty. This is Black male worship at its finest. Worshiping something and giving idolatry to someone that is not doing the same for you. This is mammying, taking care of something that's not taking care of you. That's a part of it for sure.
Women need to face and do too, facing our truths. So yes, I am for Black men, and I am for Black women staying with Black men.
Okay, I'm Justin Blue. I'll ask you the same question. You know, why do you think Black women prefer Black men? Why do you think we hold out and hold on?
Well, first of all, there's cultural commonalities, and no one's going to understand you like someone who comes from your race, comes from the same struggles as you. And yes, there's different struggles, sub-struggles that we have, but collectively as Black people, there's no one that's going to understand you like a Black man is going to be able to understand a Black woman, and vice versa. And so Black woman wants to be understood. She wants somebody that can love her the way that she wants to be loved and have that deep understanding. And so she searches for that within a Black man.
Okay, so what he is also doing is he is othering Black women. He is othering Black women by telling Black women that no other man can love you the way that he loves other women. You need to be loved in this different way. You need to be loved in this special, magical way that only Black men have the magic wand to do, right? The love that an Asian woman gets from her man, the love that a white woman gets from her man, and a foreign woman or whatever, that's not the type of love an American Black woman needs. She needs love that only a American Black man can give her. right? And this type of talk, this type of narrative, and this type of conditioning is why Black women can't really, connect with other groups of people for real, because they believe that they need something different than the majority, something different than what's actually working for the majority. He is like telling Black women that what the majority is doing, that's been working, that's been creating families, that's been putting food on the table, that type of love is something that Black women don't need. They need a different type of love from a Black man. Meanwhile, the quote unquote love, where has it gotten Black households in general? Where has it gotten the Black marriage rates? You know what I'm saying? Like this other type of love that only Black men can offer Black women, what has it done for us on paper compared to other groups of people that are not in the shackles of believing that they need to be treated this one special way? Majority of people are being loved and following protocol and doing the regular thing. They're getting married, they're meeting, they're dating, they're getting engaged, they're getting married, they're having children. The men are working, the women are working or doing their role as well, supporting in how they can. They're having healthy children that are going to college and staying out of jail. So if that type of love is not what Black women also need or should get or deserve, what other love is he talking about that only Black men can offer? What is it? Stop othering Black women. Black women can get the same type of, if the same type of love is creating homes and healthy households and healthy children, yes, Black women can get that type of love too. We don't need to be othered. And this struggle of what it means to be, look, I know there are Black women who do believe that they are in a struggle in their life right now just from being a Black woman. But if you look at the stats, the data, and what us Black women are actually doing, we're actually doing very, very well. We're not doing as bad as what a lot of other Black people think. We're the most educated in our communities. Majority of single homes of homes led by single people are being led by Black women. Female home ownership has went up everywhere, so it's safe to say it's also went up for Black women as well. We're not really doing that bad to the point where we need to be separated into a different box to be loved properly. Black women are not the most in jail. We're not the most committing crimes. Okay? We're doing very much so okay and very well to the point where we don't need to be othered and put into a box.
Black men are fine, let's face it. But look, I mean, I also think that even though we're highlighting the differences and Black men are twice as likely to marry outside their race as Black women, we still remain among the least likely ethnic groups to marry outside of race overall. So I think it can be overstated, the divisions, even though they do exist.
Well, I think it's also interesting, or important rather, to state what percentage of Black men who are marrying Black women. So when we put out the statement of Black men are 2 times as likely to date or marry outside the race, it's also important to state that majority of married Black men are marrying Black women. And so if we just use the one statistic without the other, it could really give us skewed information or a skewed lens.
Cynthia G, you say you're tired of Black men. Explain what you mean by that.
Listen, I first want to answer your first question. There is a reason why Black women are running around chasing this mythological dream of Black love that Black men have not bought into and have shown that in many different ways. The first way being, we already know, with them dating out at least 2.5 times more than Black women. But Black women specifically, and I agree, it is a cultural dynamic. And within this culture, we put way too much of an emphasis on Black men. We're calling them kings, although they have no kingdom. We're sold into this narrative as Black women, that if we consider an option outside of Black men, then we are betraying the race. We are betraying ourselves, and that it is our duty as Black women to stick to Black men so that we can carry the Black community on our backs. As I've said, Black men have largely already opted out of this. Black men have, since getting off the plantation, in the case of Pace v. Alabama, fought the Supreme Court to have access to white women. So Black men were never really bought into this Black love notion, but Black women have been. So now you have it where the community as a whole, both Black men and Black women, who condemn and shame Black women who even think about going outside of their race. We're called bed wenches, we're called traitors, we're called every name under the sun, everything but a child of Christ. So at the end of the day,
so just let me interject here for a moment, Cynthia G. I think that you're correct. It's wrong to shame anyone. People should be able to love who they want to love, and no shade, no shame. At the same time, I don't think it's fair to say Black men haven't bought into the concept of Black love, or that Black men sued to get access to white women. I think they sued to have the same choice that you want to have, which is to love who they love.
Well,
So I don't like how that was her response to Cynthia G. I didn't read up on that case myself, but just going based off of her statements, she said that Black men went to sue to love who they want to love. Yes, and that included wanting to love white women. And I actually don't have a problem with Black men that date out. Actually, not at all. I don't I don't make a face when I see a Black man out with a non-Black woman in public. That's not me. I don't care, to be honest. I truly don't. In my personal opinion, the more Black men can get into some households and off the street causing crime, the better. So I don't care where they got to go and what the woman look like. They just should not be out on the street getting shot by police or wanting to rob somebody either. So whatever it takes, whoever they need to go to, if they need to be passport bros and go, they should go. Just go. Because it's not going to do them any good to be single out and about on the street to get shot up by somebody's cop, or to be tempted to want to rob somebody, put into a situation where they want to commit some crimes, which we see going on. So yeah, let them go to wherever they want to go. I don't care. But I don't like how she is, telling Cynthia G, oh, they just wanted to fight to love who they wanted to love. Because if they really just wanted to love on Black women, they wouldn't need to go to court for that. That was already allowed. So since it wasn't allowed for them to love on non-Black women, that's what they went to court for. So Cynthia G is correct. They went to court to fight to love on who they wanted to love. Yes, but on non-Black women. That's what it was. No other man was really out here doing that. The Hispanic man was not going to court to love on a white woman. That wasn't going on. It was only the Black men who were doing that. So Cynthia G, I pretty much, I agree with all that stuff she's saying. But this woman here is like, I don't know if she's just trying to say this because of the show or if she's truly delusional. But it was never against the law for Black people to love on each other. It was against the law for Black men to love on white women. And that's why those men went to court. That's pretty much the reason why. And I wouldn't even say it was really the same for Black women because, there was one book I was reading, one history book I was reading, and it said that a lot of white men that was in government during like the early 1800s, late 1800s, just 1800s period, they had a lot of Black mistresses, and there was a time period where it was going to get exposed. All the white men in government that had Black mistresses, and the white men almost rioted to have their right to privacy so that it wasn't exposed who that they were with, which Black women that they were with, or if they were even with Black women. So that was never, Black women never had to go and fight for something like that because it was kind of always allowed. It was just on the hush, versus the vice versa, other way around, because that was something that had to be fought for. Because even if Black men wanted to have on the hush relationships with white women, they would get got. Versus the other way around, nobody would get got because white men ran everything. So if white women or white men ran everything, so if white men wanted to love on a black woman in any kind of way, that was allowed. Let me show you guys this. Sorry, let's just take a break from this. That brings me to a movie I just watched a few nights ago with Vivica. Not Vivica. Oh God, what's her name? What is her name? And she had a baby by Rick Fox. Vanessa Williams. Vanessa Williams was in this movie, and it's a true story. I just watched this, and I'm going to show it to you guys. It's like one of those cheap rinky-dink movies. Here it is. Let me show this to y'all right now. Based on a true story. Hold on. If you guys know which movie I'm talking about, let me know. So here's the movie. Vanessa Williams did this movie. This movie was done in, I don't know, what was this movie made? 2000, right? Yeah, 2000. It's based on a true story, at least. And yeah, it's called Courage to Love, right? I think she played like a Creole or a black woman who fell in love with this French man who wanted to marry her, wanted to be with her, wanted to take her to France, where I guess during this time period, there was no like weird racism things going on during this time period, at least, or at least the part of France he was trying to take her to, so that they can be together. She never went with him because she dedicated her life to serving the community and serving the slave children. Vanessa Williams played like a teacher where she taught slave children and things like that. So he wanted to be with her and marry her and all that. She didn't go. The end of the story, you know, she just stays in her town and continues living and teaching. But it was just a story about, you know, her falling in love with this white man. And her father is white. So she was also half white. Her mother is black. And her mother and father fell in love. But eventually the white father ended up having to leave the marriage. But he left the black mother an estate, like a house and everything, to be with, to live in, so that the black mother can live there with her, Vanessa Williams, and Vanessa Williams' sister, who did end up marrying a white man also and having a baby by her, but ended up passing away during the pregnancy, unfortunately, because, you know, back then it was very easy for a woman to die during childbirth, you know, during 1800s and stuff like that, or 1700s. But this was a true story. It's a love story. You know, during slavery times, so there's like some slavery stuff in there. I encourage you ladies to watch this if you want to get some piece of history. I love history, so you know, I thought this movie was interesting. Y'all, guess who I watched this movie with? Oh my God. Guys, I watched this movie with this guy that I'm dating, and he's white, and he wanted to watch this. So I was like, okay, it's a whole slave movie. I don't know. But he thought it was really good, and I did too. We were both really interested in it. We both like history a lot. So we enjoyed it. And Vanessa Williams plays a great character, but this is based on a true story. But anyway, where was I going with that? Where I was going with that is I was trying to explain to you guys that it was never a struggle for white men and black women to get together. White men and black women to get together in any type of way, the way that it was for black men and white women to get together. Okay, this was very common. It was extremely common. And what also bothers me a lot about black women and white male relationships during the slavery times is that everyone assumes that it was like a forced situation, that it was a grape situation, if you know what I'm saying. And I'm not saying those situations didn't happen, because those situations happened to Black women, not amongst white men, but Black men as well during the slavery times, especially for Black women who lived on breeding farms. That's a whole nother conversation. But what I'm telling you is, throughout all of these stories, you would be a fool to believe that all of these Black female and white male relationships that happened during slavery times were just all forced. You best believe that a lot of these Black women and Black and white men actually fell in love with each other and wanted to be together, and it was not forced. All right. So, because growing up, I never really thought that any relationship with Black women and white men during the times of slavery, that any of them were loving relationships. I thought it was all forced. It was all sexual conquest. And it wasn't until I actually started reading a lot of Black female slave narratives, um, and other slave narratives in general, where the truth was revealed that actually a lot of Black women had loving relationships with white men. There was actually one post that I was reading on like Reddit or something, and a white woman said that she tracked her ancestry and found out that within her ancestry, she has a like great, 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 whatever white grandfather who was a slave owner, fell in love with one of his Black female slaves, sold everything just to be with her, and they moved to England to be together. They moved somewhere to Europe. I don't know, England, somewhere in Europe. And so that's how she traced, that's where she found out in her ancestry. So you can't make me believe that these relationships were all just forced and the Black woman just hated them so much. No, these Black women during these times had white male love interests, and it was consensual. And a lot of Black men don't want to face that. A lot of Black people don't want to either. And they all want to say it was forced. They all want to say it was, a sexual conquest. No, it wasn't. There were plenty of white men who gave everything for Black women, even during these times. So that's just where I was going with that. But y'all should watch this movie. I think it's free on one of those movie apps called Crackle or something like that. It's free with a little bit of some commercials. But it was a pretty good movie. And it was based on a true story. And I enjoyed it. Okay.
Fact of the matter is, we can say they had to love who they want to love, but essentially Black men were petitioning the Supreme Court to specifically have access to white women. So, I mean, we can try to act like that's not the case, but the case is on the docket. We can list.
The vast majority still marry Black women. But let's go to
They don't. That's another lie that we're sold. We're sold that the vast majority of Black men marry Black women.
The data do show that.
But they do.
Well, the data shows that of the small percentage of Black men who do get married, that small percentage marries Black women.
Only count the ones that are married.
But here's the thing: most Black men don't get married.
Cynthia G, why don't you go ahead and answer the question about why you're tired of Black men, so then Janet Brooks can come in because she clearly has a comment.
So what I'm more tired of than Black men is this notion of holding Black women hostage to Black men. Because typically when we have the discussion, we're not thinking about whether or not Black women's dedication to Black men actually benefits Black women. Statistically, it does not. So more so than me being tired of Black men, I'm more tired of this notion that Black men have to be rooted to men who really, quite frankly, have nothing to offer them except their Blackness.
Okay, that's a lot right there. Ms. Brooks, go ahead.
First of all, there are no absolutes. I don't want anyone taking Black women and putting them all in one category as absolutes. But I will say this, and I'm going to start with us as Black women. We as Black women have to learn to love ourselves and teach people how to treat us. we can't blame Black men for the things that we allow. Like, he's dating 3 different women and you're okay. Or, he's married, but you're dating him. And I'm going to speak from a Black woman's perspective. I don't blame Black men for that. I blame us for taking it. We have to take a stand and think better of.
It's just so interesting that she's saying this, because she's saying that us as Black women need to not accept this type of treatment. And so when we literally have a panel and a show segment, and the title is "Should We Abandon Black Men as Our Dating Preferences?" This woman doesn't stop to think that the reason we are now asking this question, the reason that we are considering this type of exodus from Black love and Black men in relationships, is because of the treatment. That we actually are not allowing it anymore, because we are deciding to leave men who think that doing those things are fine. We're deciding to leave those men alone. And so she is a walking contradiction. One of you ladies said it in the chat. She is a walking contradiction. She's saying us as Black women need to look at what we're doing, what we're allowing, but then at the same time, don't believe that the solution in us reflecting on what we're allowing and the solution to that is walking away. Like this is the solution. Asking should we abandon them, and choosing to date out, or at least no longer date men that subscribe to that culture of having hoes and pimping and having 3 hoes on the side with your main chick, and just wanting to abandon all of that and walk away from all of that. That is a solution. That is Black women no longer allowing this anymore. So it's just really weird how she's saying all of this in one doggone sentence without really understanding what she's saying. True said, I have that in my lineage too, except he was a son of the slave owner who fell in love with a Black woman who was a slave. He was disowned, but he has a common law marriage and 3 kids. Yeah. That happened a lot. Okay. Every historical book I read that was written by a Black person, a lot of them are written by Black men, so I'd read them anyway. But anytime it talks about a Black woman getting with a non-Black man, as far as having sex, it was always assumed that this was a forced, non-consensual sexual situation. It's like they don't believe that it was consensual. They don't want to believe that it was actually a relationship where they fell in love with each other and wanted to be together. And it wasn't easy. Yeah, the other communities didn't approve and other people didn't like it, but they still loved each other. Black Widow Rose says they would have their mistresses pose as house slaves and they were the nice masters. It was interesting to read. You know what? Now that I think about it, that is actually in my family tree. My great aunt married a white man. I don't know how this was like in the early like late 1940s, so I don't know how she did it exactly, but or how they were able to get married because they were in Texas. But they got married and she had to act. Anyone that would come over to their house within this town, she had to act like she was the housemaid. She had to act like she was the maid, just so that the other townspeople wouldn't know that her and my great uncle were married and actually in love. And they had kids together. They had like 4 kids. That happened a whole lot. It was just a lot of undercover hush hush, but it was never something that was completely impossible. But that happened in my lineage too. Black woman falling in love with white man and trying to fake it. That happened a lot.
Ourselves and put ourselves on a different level, whether you're white, Latino, whoever you decide to date, you're going to get the same thing if you don't make changes in the way you treat yourself and the way that you look at yourself. And it has to start with Black women.
I feel like
See, this is the problem.
Hold on. I feel like I need to bring in activist Justin Blue. I feel like it's crazy having all these women arguing about black men and not letting the brother speak. Go ahead, Mr. Blue.
So I identify far more as a life coach than activist. I'm just a black man who happens to care and is able to do things about it. But there was a statement regarding black men holding black women hostage. And I think that's very interesting to explore, because how are black men holding black women hostage regarding marriage and dating? And in, like, what resources and what position of power are we in to control those sorts of things? Now, when it comes to marriage, who normally gets on their knee and requests to say, you know what, I want this person to be my wife or my husband? Who's requesting marriage? Who tends to have that decision? I'll ask everyone present.
Well, men do, but men request marriage, but we know statistically black men in the large majority do not get married. And what I was going to say is that it's not just black men that seek to hold black women hostage to black men. It is also black women or elder black women who seek to give us this notion of no pain, no gain. You need to sit in a relationship with black men, struggle, earn him, prove that you're worthy of his affections. And I think that's not healthy for black women. If you look at reports like the Brookings Institute that is detailing that black women would be wanting to date and marry black men is keeping them rooted to poverty. It is making black men very arrogant and narcissistic, because essentially what they're doing is black men are running around displaying their disloyalty. They're publicly disclaiming how they prefer any woman other than a black woman.
Got it. Justin, I'm going to give you the last word real quick here before we continue this conversation. I'm loving it.
It's this. Okay, to say that black men aren't choosing black women and that black men are holding black women hostage, and what ability do they have to hold black women hostage, right? If we're gonna look at other men and say, okay, this is the answer, how many of them are saying, would you be my wife? Will you marry me? And so there's a relatively small percentage, especially when it comes to white men, that are actually dating outside their race as well.
This is how black men hold black women hostage. This right here, by basically moving into the narrative that no one wants you.
Cynthia G, I need you to hold that thought. Yes, it's a hot topic and we've got a lot more of it. Should black women be dating outside their race? We will continue on Fox Soul TV.
Okay, so I'm going to stop there. But yeah, Cynthia G is right. Her last point is that this is what they do. This is the conditioning. This is them holding black women hostage by black men taking advantage of the fact that they are men. So they use that to their advantage by, making it seem like they know how other men think just because they are a man. And so they will tell you they don't think you're beautiful. They don't think you're desirable. They don't think you're wifey material. That's why you're still so single. That's why they're not out here chasing after you. But I made a live about this. I made a live video strictly talking about, are non-black men chasing after black women in mass? And the answer to that is honestly no. But refer to what I said earlier in this live, that it's not even necessary. Non-black men don't need to come chasing after single and available black women in mass, because the number of single available black women who are actually open to dating out isn't even a lot. So we don't need a lot of men chasing after us. That's the amount of men chasing after black women is completely irrelevant. It really is. We don't need that. We don't need it. It is of no use to us to have that many men chasing after us for the so few black women that are even ready and willing to date out. So when the black men make these points, it is of no use. It's pointless. It's pointless. And another thing is the real reason, if I really had to give an actual reason why non-black men are not putting us at such a pedestal at high rates, the real reason is because black women have shouted and made it clear how much they don't want to date out, how much they only want to be with black men. So no, No group of non-black men is going to chase after a group of women that makes it clear that they don't want them from the get-go, by and large, okay? It's not even going to happen. So the fact that men like him don't even want to acknowledge that, they don't even want to acknowledge that when black women choose their ideal guy off rip, he's black majority of the time, period. He's black. Now, I do believe that's starting to change. I do believe a lot of black women are changing their tune and they're now saying, I don't care who, I don't care what skin color my ideal man is. I'm choosing character. I'm choosing emotional well-being, how healthy he is emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. I'm choosing based off of that. I'm not choosing just based off of a skin color. Right? That is changing. There's a lot of black women who are starting to date out and be with other races of men in any capacity. Okay, so I don't know why black men like him bring up that, oh, non-black men are not chasing after y'all, so you're not that wanted. They don't need to chase after us in mass like that. There's not even a lot of black women around to fulfill all those men who would even desire us. Like, even if it was just, I think there's about over 100 million men in this country for sure. I wouldn't even say probably need a little under 15 million of them um for black women, and then that would be it for the amount of black women that are single, ready to date out. It's definitely probably not even 15 million. It's probably much, much, much smaller than that, considering the fact that for black women who do get married, 90% of the time it's to a black man anyway. So it's probably not even going to be more than 10 million black women that are ready to date out. It's probably less than that, in my opinion. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's a lot. And we don't need a lot of non-black men to chase after us. So when black men say this, it's honestly disrespectful. It's honestly rude. Really. It's honestly disrespectful because they're just letting you know you're not desirable to other races of men. So why go over there? Right? And they're using the fact that they're men to back up this claim. But a lot of black men aren't even welcomed in non-black male circles. Not that intimately, to the point where they will know their type. Okay? They don't even know what they're talking about when they're talking about the preferences of non-black men. A lot of non-black men I know they don't really have black male friends that they consider like another guy they can talk to about like that locker room stuff. It's just not it. Tamiko says, as more and more black women gain US passports and start to travel, our options are more open than ever. Plus, the data is solely based on US statistics. There are black women living overseas. Yeah, the black women who live overseas date out a lot. Black women who go overseas just for vacation get praised, and, they have men falling all over them. From the TikToks and the videos that I see overseas, that's happening. So I know there's a whole passport bros going on, but I'm not seeing black men going overseas and being like really, desired by the women there for real. Not in any special way. If anything, those women are poor and desire men from rich countries. Not that the men are rich, but they come from a rich country just because those women want to leave their poor conditions. They don't really think you're amazing. They think your pocketbook is amazing. Or really they think your citizenship is amazing, which can make them rich if they came over here with you. Teresa says, yeah, most white men don't talk to black men about wanting to date black women or willingness to do so. Exactly. They don't. They don't talk to them about dating us. Why would they do that? Why would they do that? Especially knowing just how small the black community is compared to theirs. What would it be like if like almost 20 million 20 million white men would go up to like 5 million black men and express to them that they want their woman? You think they're really going to do that? That's not happening. That's not happening. That's never happened. And it never will. Because at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, white men in particular have always been able to do what they want and get what they wanted. Okay? They don't need to discuss it with anyone else. Especially, no shade in any kind of way, but especially to men who are economically at the bottom. They are not going to report to you what they want to do. Ever. Ever. These men do what they want. You know why they also do what they want? Because they don't live in like a victim mentality mindset. They live in a mindset where they can get what they want and they can do what they want. Historically, we clearly see this, but it's still very apparent today. They don't come from that victim mindset. They believe they can do what they want. They believe that if they find a woman attractive, no matter what race she is, that if he feels comfortable doing so, he will approach her and try to talk to her and try to date her. He doesn't need your permission. He doesn't need to let you know about it at all. Most black men don't talk to white men because black men are not in those spaces. This is a fact. This is a fact. And I don't think they have to be in those spaces. A lot of black men feel like they need to be included in white man's space. No, you do not. No, they don't. For what? Why do you even want to be? You know, this is why I do see a lot of black men who talk like this. I do see them being the biggest white supremacist because they want to be by white men. They want to be able to say they know what they're thinking and stand behind it as well. Like, that is white supremacy to me. You're upholding what the white man thinks. You talk about him all the time. You want to know what he's thinking so you can pass it along. You don't want to create your own spaces. You want to be all up in his. Like, hello. How is that pro blackness? How is that black power? How is that pro black male if you're so concerned and or, so in tune with what the white man is thinking and with what he wants and his desires? I have Black Women Multimedia TV says I have think the real reason why the rhetoric for a black woman to get dating other races of men is because there are some entities that financially benefit from black women staying in the lower class. I think so as well. Someone is benefiting from black women struggling. Someone is benefiting from black women not, increasing their standards or placing boundaries. Someone is benefiting from black women choosing bottom of the barrel people to include in their life. which is why talks of a soft life, talks of a Black woman just being more educated or being better in any way is always shamed upon. Like there's some Black manosphere content creators that are shaming the soft life, that are saying that the soft life, or they're mad that the soft life is not about getting a man, that it's just about a Black woman enjoying herself and, you know, enjoying the fruits of her labor, enjoying her making good decisions, um, enjoying a lifestyle where she's working smarter instead of harder and getting benefits from that. It's very weird that Black men really and genuinely believe we need to be work mules for them. And then they want to say that we're trying to be white women. There was one Black male manosphere content creator that I listened to one of his videos, and he said that Black women want to be white. We want to be white women. And since Black men can't give us the lifestyles that white women have received from white men, we as Black women now want to be mad. We now want to hate our men, and we now want to try to make ourselves more appealing to white men, all because we want to be like white women. Because clearly, living a lifestyle where you are protected and provided for as a woman is a white thing to do. Like, these men are so far removed from what it means to be with a woman in general, and especially these Black men, they are so subscribed to struggle love that anything that isn't struggle is now you trying to be white. Black Brother Rose says, I agree, madam, especially the church. Oh yeah, the church definitely tells you you need to struggle and break your leg in half and lose half of your brain just to see some kind of success. And if you're an actual Christian and you really read your Bible, right? Like God actually has a lot of blessings for you. And it's not that you have to struggle for the blessings, but we're all going to go through trials and tribulations in general. In general, whether we get what we want or not, we're still going to go through something. So to say that you have to go through something to get what you want, that's so irrelevant, because you're going to have to struggle anyway. You're going to have to go, there's something in your life that it's you're going to have to work hard for it. It's not going to come easy, is what I'm saying. We're all going to go through that, but we don't have to struggle to win in a sense. We don't have to struggle, especially when it comes to relationships, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I talked about this in one of my other lives. I didn't leave it up because I cammed up and everything. But in that other live, I said that when it comes to relationships and finding and getting a mate, that's not supposed to be something you struggle for. Nowhere in the scriptures does it tell you that getting a mate is supposed to be something you struggle to do. That's not in the scripture. When it comes to struggling in the Bible, it talked about times of war, famine, sickness, like real legitimate, life-changing, horrible things. One of the things God tells us to do is to be fruitful and multiply. Like that's obviously like a demand from God to get with a mate. That's not supposed to be something you struggle to do. Like struggles are actual legitimate struggles. Like you're starving, you're sick. Like back then it was people getting leprosy and, a death in their family or something like that, like a war, someone conquering them and all that. It was never about relationships. It was never about getting with somebody. That was something that was automatic, that was supposed to be easy. You were known to have a mate, period. Only Apostle Paul, I believe, chose a life of singleness. And mind you, he chose it for himself with his free will. It was not It was not a demand from God that he remain single. That was his choice. And he suggested to other Christians that if you find yourself, like burning with lust or have wandering eyes, get married. But if you find yourself just wanting to serve your community and you don't have this desire for anyone else, then serve your community. So the church will definitely keep you bound and will make you think that struggles in the Bible are the same as struggles that we go through today in our very privileged lifestyle, to be honest. Okay? Because if you're able to sit in a church, drive to church in your car, sit in there and give your tithes and all of that, you're probably not in war with anybody. You're probably not starving to the point where you're malnourished and skin and bones, and you're probably not disease and bedridden either. So those struggles don't really apply to you and what to do during those struggles. So the church has completely took the scriptures and twisted it to mean that, you know, it needs to be a struggle to find a mate. And why did the church do that? Because they know that a lot of Black people come from trauma ridden homes that don't know how to be in relationships, period. And so it's just so normalized to have to go through something when you want to get with someone in the Black community, that um they had to make it a normalcy by bringing the word into it, by bringing scriptures into it. But the scripture does not tell you that that is normal. The scripture actually condemns people that act out and make it difficult to talk to other people. So many scriptures that tell you about controlling your tongue, you're having a temper and all these things that tell you that all those things that make a person difficult to be with, that condemn you for acting that way. But instead of the Black church talking about those things to actually help a lot of Black people get together, instead they wanted to normalize it by saying it is struggle and you have to go through them to find the one for you. That's why I left the Black church, y'all. I go to a church that is diverse, that has everybody in it. I don't go to all Black churches anymore. And my preacher is a biracial man, but he was raised in like his non-Black side, and he doesn't act stereotypically Black at all. But all the other leaders in the church are non-Black or just like very diverse. If we stop breeding with Black men, then the children born from Black women who have married out and up will not be born into poverty. Dating out and marrying up socially and politically is better. Yeah, it is better. It is better, right? Now, I know there's a lot of talks too of all this dating out, marrying out. That obviously, and you have children, that obviously means you're going to end up with biracial kids, right? You're not going to end up with Black children if you marry out. That's not going to happen. Your children will be biracial, okay? But the Black race is not going to go anywhere, all right? It's not. Because out of all the continents in the world, I actually did a live on this also. Africa is the only continent whose population is still doing very well. Like they're still procreating over there at rates that are a lot higher than everyone else. Or not a lot, but pretty steady. Where everyone else's is on the slight decline. Africa is not at that level yet. So their researchers are projecting by the end of the century, Africa will um, heavily populate the earth to the point where a third of the entire world will be Black. true. Also, a lot of Black women are used to trauma, so their relationships reflect. So that's why the Black church encourages kissing many frogs to get a prince, or they enable Black men to do degeneracy. Yeah, exactly. I really would encourage you, ladies, to visit churches that are led by other groups of people so that you can see the types of messages they preach regarding relationships. I went to a white church. I forgot the denomination. It was a Christian white church. But they did not talk about anything like that you got to kiss frogs and all this stuff. Actually, if you walked in single, I went with one of my friends who goes there all the time, and this is what she told me. She told me that if you actually walk in single or you join the church and you're single, they try to set you up with someone that they think would be perfect for you, and they check up on you. They they try to give you counseling on dating if you guys are taking dating seriously, and they try to literally help you to get married. So it's the opposite. They try to get you to not kiss any frogs. They try to set you up with someone to get you married ASAP, because they want their church to be filled with married people, to be filled with families, because they believe that that is the center of all communities, is the home. And all these other churches, especially these there's one like mega church that talks a lot about like singleness and how you should, you know, um just be very kind of like a vibe. He doesn't say this directly, but how I interpret his sermons, it's like a vibe of you being very like cautious and very weary, like when you're dating. And the vibe just gives off like you shouldn't trust the person that you're trying to get to know or you're trying to date. Like it's really weird. Like he gives messages on dating that you should always second guess and question who you're with all of the time. And I just don't understand that. Like, because there's people listening to him that probably really found the one, but since he is telling them to second guess it and question, and oh, he might not be it. Some of y'all are sitting next to somebody that you should have left 5 years ago. I don't even, or not even like 5 weeks ago or something. Like, I'm just like, why are you saying this to young, impressionable people who are single and dating, who are already so scared of like committing long term, and you're making it worse by planting these seeds of doubt into their mind? And this preacher believes it's like a word from God, but it's actually seeds of doubt to scare people out of commitment. And I also heard someone else say this too, that the black churches too, yeah, but a lot of these mega churches profit off of having single people available to serve the church. So they will say things to keep you single, to keep you in fear, to keep you full of doubt about a person you actually enjoy spending time with. Plant seeds of doubt in your head to keep you single and available to serve in the church. To keep you single and available so that you have more money to give to the church, right? Because if you have a family, if you're a mom and you're making money, well, a lot of it's going to your household first and foremost. You don't have a lot of it to give to church, versus people who don't have any kids, who aren't paying a mortgage. They have a little bit more extra money usually, and they're able to just in general make giving back to the church more of a priority. Like a lot of these churches, the ones that are huge and profit off of a lot of stuff going on in the church, but yet they say nothing positive or reassuring when it comes to dating, there is an agenda. Of course, our children will be biracial, and I am okay with that. What I am not okay with is breeding my children into poverty and expanding Black female poverty. Black women need to break the cycle now. Absolutely agree with that. Yep, Tamika, you're absolutely right. Not so fast, wealthy Chinese men are buying up land and starting businesses, and they are marrying the local African woman and having children with them. So one half will be mixed. Yes, this is true. This is actively going on. These Chinese men, first of all, the Chinese men, they was taking out their Chinese daughters or not having any Chinese daughters. So there's so many Chinese men who are single right now, and a lot of them that either came before that generation or right at that generation are going to Africa, buying up land, starting businesses, and getting with African women and actually marrying them consensually. So it's just real funny how today we have all these consensual relationships between black women and non-black men, but somehow throughout the slavery times or colonial times and all that stuff, if these relationships happened back then, those are all forced. Like, you've got to be kidding me. That doesn't make any sense. Yep, I think I read that article too, Tamiko. I was also reading a book. It's been taking me a while to read it, but I brought it up on my channel before. It's called, oh god, I think it's called The Destruction or something of African Civilization from the like BC era. And it talks about how in the part of Africa around the Nile River, so like northeast Africa, a lot of Europeans and Asians, white people and Asians migrated over there. And so a mass racial mixing of African women and Asians started happening. And they became like these great warriors or whatever, these biracial people that were the product of African women and Asian men. They became these great warriors and learned how to fight and were chosen to be raised um, by the Asian men, and they were taught more so Asian culture. But this is not anything new. Asian people have Asian men have procreated massively with African women centuries ago. I mean, like BC times. It's in this book, the deconstruction or destruction or whatever of African civilization. I think it was written by a black man, of course, but um he also said that a lot of those unions were of grape, like forced, but I I highly doubt that. Like, come on. And he doesn't even have he has proof for everything else he's saying except for that part. He has no proof that these African women were being forced to be with Asian men. He has no proof of that. It's just like a one sentence that I'm pretty sure it's just his assumption or his opinion. No proof. But that was going on centuries ago. That is how other races of people even started. I don't know, like the Asian people who have very dark, like brown skin. Some of them are descendants of this from those centuries. So they the Asian people have always been up in Africa for real, like that, and wanting African women and being with them, and you know, I know it's all consensual. Yeah, we are living in a great economical reset right now with all so many new things are developing. So many new ways of people making money are now happening, and there is a reset going on. And I think, a lot of people are gearing towards, yeah, being self-made and having their own businesses. Black women are doing a lot of this. A lot, the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs are Black women. Black women, Black female entrepreneurship is growing. Goldman Sachs, like, hello. Like, how else can you receive confirmation that you're actually out here doing it when such a huge financial institution like Goldman Sachs is investing in you? There's a major global reset happening right now. And these men, these Black men on here on these panels and on these podcasts talking out of their tail, they're going to be far behind and completely miss out. They're going to be either just nowhere to be found, to be honest, or they're going to try to be these passport bros and go to other countries. Let me just tell you the stupidity with passport bros. They're tricking women, which is like what one of you ladies said in the chat. They're tricking these women, these poor women that really don't give a damn about them at all. They're just poor and destitute. They just want something better. All right. They don't care about who gets them out. They just want out. So they'll play the role and they'll finesse these men. And it is what it is. But the fact that these passport bros just all think that they can barge into a country and take up all these poor women, and like that these countries are just going to allow it, like the men aren't going to do something. Like, I posted on my community tab a while ago that there were 2 Black men who left to South America. They had a farm and they ended up getting locked up because they got accused of committing a murder. I don't think they got let out, and they were put in jail for life. So they wanted to leave, see better in South Americas, because I guess apparently in the US, Black men are just so under attack. But they went to these South American countries and they got locked up for just looking like somebody. Black Riddle Rose says that whole passport, save yourself, Black men clique is very weird. They need to be careful, or laws in foreign countries will outlaw them from going to them. Exactly. That's the crazy part. Like, these men objectify women so much that they just think that women are just out here waiting for them to pluck them up out of their little world to serve them until death do us part. It is so weird and psychotic. It is so weird and psychotic. Like, no wonder why these articles are coming out saying that these men are lonely and miserable. Believing that women are objects and we don't have minds of our own, that we have no desires and we have no wants and skills and things that we like doing, and just seeing us as objects to just do for you. In today's time, you're going to stay alone if you're a man who thinks that way. No woman wants to commit her life to that. And for these poor women who are telling these Black men what they want to hear, it's just a matter of time before they take them in finesse and move on. It happens very often. It happens very often. I'm now starting to hear these men say that if they go over there to find those women, to stay over there. Because they're very aware that if they brought that woman back here to the States, she will leave him and pursue the American dream that all, the poor people from foreign countries want to do. So it's almost like these men are they already understand that these women most likely don't want them for them. Hence why they're scared to bring them back to the US, because they believe that the woman will just use him for a green card and then be about her business in the country, divorce him and leave him for someone else, or to be famous, or to whatever. So these passport bros are telling each other, when you go there, stay over there, don't come back. But then they're telling them to go in and stay in countries that are poor. They're not telling them to go to like London or to freaking, Poland and just Switzerland and countries that are a lot more developed, Germany or anything like that, right? Or Ireland. Those countries are developed for the most part, much more developed than like Brazil or Nicaragua or freaking like all those poor South American countries and the Philippines. Like the European countries are pretty much all developed, like the countries that are in the NATO. Those countries are all developed, and they're not talking about going there. They're talking about going to Thailand, Philippines, Brazil, Dominican Republic, even certain African countries that are poor, right? But from my understanding, African women don't want American black men. They want their own men. Or they date out, but they don't want to be with American black women. I mean, American black men. But all right, guys, that's all I wanted to say for this video. I just wanted to share those two things with you guys. I'll probably go live again on Friday evening. I'm going to have a late night girl chat. I will be cammed up with a glass of wine. We're just going to have a late night girl chat and talk about some other things that have been going on and share some experiences and just have a Friday night girls night in with some wine and just kick it and have some fun. So hope you ladies join me. It'll probably be like 7:15 p.m. West Coast, which is what, like 10:15 p.m. East Coast, and then Central Time like 9:15 or something like that, 8:15. So make sure to join me. Turn on the notification bell, like this video, comment down below what you ladies think, and I will talk to you ladies in the next one.